I want to introduce Tammy Messenger, and she's a mom to a 17-year-old daughter with autism, and she's here to share her story as well.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So yes, hi, my name is Tammy Messenger, and my daughter is currently a senior in high school, almost 17. We did the study when she was 13 and 14 years old. And I just want to say I'm excited to speak to you tonight about the MTT experience that we had. I've told a lot of people about it just because it was so life-changing for us. And we first began noticing difficulties with my daughter when she was around 3 years old. And the struggles got progressively worse as she got older. In addition to extreme mood swings, meltdowns, hyperactivity, aggression, she had a variety of hypersensitivities as well. And she was starting to complain about headaches and stomach aches. By the time she hit second grade, she was actually vomiting several times a week, and often right after she went to bed, or even like an hour after she went to bed. She had frequent trouble sleeping and never could maintain friendships or even get along with her own siblings. All relationships were extremely difficult, and we got to a point where she really refused to go to school or to go to church, to go on outings with the family. She would run and hide in the house because she just didn't want to leave the house. By the time she was diagnosed with autism around age 9, and we'd already taken her to countless doctors and clinics and specialists. We had tried a variety of different therapies, supplements, and different healing modalities. The problem that we found, and I'm sure many of you have seen this, is that we would try something and we would start to see a little bit of progress, but as soon as that was discontinued, we'd see regression. And so there was nothing really that we could do for her that had any lasting impact. The older she got, the more she seemed to be struggling with her ability just to cope with the basic things in life. And she seemed to be stuck just in a holding pattern where she couldn't move on, she couldn't mature, and she couldn't get past this place that she was in. In about 2019, I was actually speaking with a neighbor who had heard about the first MTT study and the good results. And I was so excited, but also so desperate at that point to find anything that could possibly work for my daughter. So I signed up with interest, hoping that by some small chance we would get selected. And after being screened and selected, she was able to start in 2021. As we started, we did find that there were a couple concerns. One of my concerns as a parent was the time. I wasn't sure if I could handle one more thing on top of everything else because we've got 5 kids. But considering how much time we've all put into every other therapy, every other type of healing modality, it wasn't anything different than any of those. My daughter was a little bit concerned, or maybe a lot concerned, about the blood draws and drinking the Miralax. And so in order to combat that and work with those fears, we came up with a little bit of a reward system for her, including some monetary bribes. And one of the things that worked really well for us was the Harry Potter series. In fact, she ended up with the whole series because I wanted her to keep going. I didn't want her to quit out. But at the same time, I felt like she needed to have a little bit of understanding that she had a choice in the matter. So thus the bribes to keep her going. In her case, we started seeing positive results almost immediately after her starting the vancomycin, and her entire body started to settle down. We saw just this calmness and peace come over her that we hadn't really seen since she was a toddler. Everything about her just seemed to go down a notch and just to settle. Her hyperactivity and her physical aggression reduced significantly. Her echolalia and her stimming definitely diminished. And she began having a better night's sleep. But the stomach aches and headaches weren't gone completely, but they started to become less intense and less frequent and a lot more manageable. Her bowel movements also improved and they became a lot more regular. At the beginning of the study, we were informed that there was a 50-50 chance that she could start on the placebo instead of the real medication. And we weren't told in the beginning which one she was on, obviously. But after starting the treatment, I knew within a couple of days that she had to be on the real treatment because the results that we were seeing in her were just so incredible. And so it didn't take somebody telling me. I already knew that she was starting off on the real stuff. One of the really cool things that happened that I had not anticipated was that as her body started to calm and as she started to feel better, she started to feel happiness and joy. And I remember picking her up one day and she was happy and just said, I feel happy. Now, for neurotypical kids, that's not a big deal. But for a child that has never really felt happiness or joy before, it was just amazing. We noticed she started to get along with her siblings. And they used to be really scared of her because of all the meltdowns and the aggression. And all of a sudden, she started being friendly and vice versa. We started to see relationships develop. And she even had her first friend in her 8th grade year of school that she was able to keep. She started making new friends. And as a senior now, she's been able to keep a small handful of friends for a couple of years, which was a huge accomplishment for her. During the MTT study, we continue to see tremendous personal growth in her daughter, and then far after, we are still seeing positive results. I can't say every characteristic of autism is gone, but there have been significant positive changes with her, and she's much more capable of handling just the day-to-day stressors, the day-to-day anxieties, the sensitivities, even as simple as being able to take a shower without me having to force her in, that she can handle the water on her skin has been such a blessing. She actually loves school now. She doesn't run and hide anymore. And she is planning to go to college next year. She's been interested in pursuing something in the medical field, which I think is quite ironic considering how much she hated doctors after all the years of treatments. Another fun thing about her is that she has a part-time job now, and she's able to work with younger kids, something I never would have seen her doing just a few short years ago. If I could offer any tips or recommendations to some of you parents out there who may be participating in the study in the future, I would definitely say it's important to let your kids know what to expect. In our case, I wanted to make sure that my daughter understood the different parts of the study that she would be doing and what would be expected of her. But I also had to plan it appropriately. I didn't want to terrify her, 2 months in advance that she was going to get her blood drawn. So I had to just really time things and prepare her so she had the time to mentally adjust and understand what was happening. And of course, like I said before, we used a bribe system and a reward system, which for her seemed to be very helpful so that she felt like she was getting something along the way, something to keep her going. All in all, I just want to say how grateful I am for the opportunity that she had to participate in the MTT study. We're so grateful to Dr. Adams and his team for giving us the opportunity. Not only has she had tremendous positive changes, but it has changed the dynamics of our entire family. And the ability of our family to now have relationships with her that we didn't have before has been a huge blessing. So I want to just wish the best of luck to any of you out there who may be participating down the road. It's very exciting, and I hope that you are able to see some really good things just like we were.